TheCrazyPlatypus.
Let's get this show on the road.
Well, it looks like Wargaming have managed to screw up again because unfortunately we've got no engine noises, but we are getting the tracks. You can see that TheCrazyPlatypus is actually in platoon with the AMX 12-ton, who goes by the name of Bosak. Is that Bosak 8? Vozak. Not sure. Anyway, Bosak 81. Now, he's got the 85mm gun, which is capable of doing 180 alpha, and it will penetrate through 144mm of armor, and he got another round into the T1 Heavy. Oh, got the engine bay this time, and that T1 Heavy's a one-shot now, and yep, got some spotting damage on that one, but didn't get the kill at the end. Well, as I was saying, 180 alpha, 144mm pen with standard. With the APCR, it will do 194. And, well, one shot from the enemy, the Matilda, I think actually knocked down the structure above us. But it was the VK3018 who actually managed to put one into us. He's being very careful to avoid any shots, but there is a Stug somewhere in the distance firing rounds at us. They bounced it, and he's killed the VK. Nice one. Going again for the SU-100. Going for the weak spot, the flat plate just to the right of the gun. I think that was more firing down the line, see if he could get that Stug. Okay, only the one kill so far, the VK. But he's kind of laid the line down. Oh, and that wreck is moving, so somebody is trying to get a good shot past the wreck. And yes, he was spotted there. That was the SU-100 spotting him. But there is a Stug somewhere behind that SU-100 firing in this direction. Well, the Churchill moved up, got fired on, and pulled back again. Trouble is, there's enemy tanks in the copse at the top of the map. If we go into the centre of the map here to try and get at the Churchill, more than likely we're going to get fired on from the north. Although they do seem a bit occupied at the moment. Occupied with our guys. So maybe he could actually make a move now. In fact, they've just lost their Largo, and that means their DSPZ is actually going to be occupied. Good, he's actually recognised that. TheCrazyPlatypus is moving. Now, dive in here quickly. Nice. Now, get shots on the Matilda. Got spotted. Oh, first shot doesn't do anything, but he covers himself. Nice shot. Got his second kill. Okay, Churchill's next. This is really going to hurt the Churchill. Yep, that was a big hit, but the kill shot actually goes to the Dick Max on our team. There was a Stug up there, and now we can see him. There's a Stug guy, Aslains. He managed to block that shot, but he didn't block the next one, and he's out the game. The Su-85B is just driving straight into danger towards our guys. Lovely shot. Unfortunately, took a big hit from a 122mm shell that hit the side of our vehicle, the Su-100, and he's gone as well. TheCrazyPlatypus is racking up the damage, but he has taken a couple of hits. In fact, he's down to 2/3 of his hit points. But a huge amount of damage now, over 2,000. Potentially, he could be up for enough for a high caliber. If he carries on at this rate, he's also looking at a very sizable score, because he's got 1,484 of assists. Okay, he's pushing. Instead, he's decided to go to the centre, because he wants to go further south to get shots on the enemy down in the village. He did get seen by that Valentine, but he's styling in. Oh! Amarak! He set the ammo off on the Valentine, gets the kill, so his 5th kill. One more, he gets the Top Gun. It'd be nice if we could hear the sound properly on this game, but unfortunately, Wargaming have denied it because they screwed up the last version of the client. And it means you, sometimes if you start the game slightly into the countdown, you miss out on the sound, or you get the sound but you don't get the tracks. It's much better to actually see the tracks moving and everything. I must admit, I prefer it this way because you still get the noises from the guns firing, just don't hear the engines. This is good. Moving up on the enemy. There's only two left. T-52 and the Kehoe. We should be able to take them out, but oh, he drove over that rock. That rock's been there for ages. Yeah, I must admit, I've driven over that rock at least once, but you don't forget it once you've gone over it once. Oh, there's the T-52 and he's stationary. Oh, we miss him with the first shot. Can we get a kill shot? Missed out on that chance. He's the only one left now. So in order to get a top gun, TheCrazyPlatypus has to go straight through this building. There you go. Oh, he missed it. He fluffed the shot. Do him. Do him. Yes! Oh dear. The bloodlust was up on that one. Here's the end of battle results, and that was an ace tanker game for the TheCrazyPlatypus and the T-34-85M. He managed to get a demolition expert because he blew one vehicle apart. That was the Valentine AT. He also got a spotter badge for spotting at least 1,000 hit points of damage, a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, a fire for effect for doing more damage than hit points for his own vehicle, and he got a bruiser medal as well for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he managed to get 9 in that one. On top of which, he managed to get the high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game, a top gun for getting at least 6 kills, and of course that T-52 was the last kill of the game, as well as a patrol duty for being the only one spotting 6 enemy tanks whilst they were damaged, and that's because he was so far forward, always spotting, getting good view lines on the enemy to enable his teammates to get shots. 7,611 was the win rate from that one, which is super income standard and quite a bit more. Let's have a look at team score. Well, there you go. Top score was 2,388, and it was enough for a high caliber. The second highest damage in the game turned out to be the BDR G1B on his team with 1,657, and the third highest damage turned out to be that T-52, the one he killed at the end. He had 1,367, so he was a good player as well. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. When it came to kills, yep, he got that one as well with 6 kills. 3 kills went to the BDR, 2 kills went to the Dicamax, the T-52 on the enemy team and their Chi 2. And when it came to base XP, got that one as well. So he's got the top in all 3 columns. 1,585 base experience points. The only player to get over 1,000. 708 went to the BDR, 667 went to his platoon mate, Vosak 81 in the MX 12-ton. He fired 27 shots in that game, got 16 direct hits on the enemy, 15 penetrations, damage of 2,388 hit points, of which 1,218 were at more than 300 meters, 6 hits received from the enemy, 4 of them penetrated, 2 non-penetrations, and 295 hit points of damage blocked by armor. He spotted 5 enemy vehicles, damaged 8 of the enemy, killed 6, did 1,648 hit points of damage assistance. Or I think that's spotting assist actually. He earned 48,768 credits on a free-to-play account, and after repair, ammunition, resupply and consumables, and yes, he used standard ammo, he actually ended up with 38,518 credits profit from that game, 1,585 base XP, 317 for this being a premium vehicle, took away 1,902 experience points altogether. It was a very good game in the T-34-85M. It's a fairly popular tank. It's not played as often, I think, as it should be, really. But when it first came out, everybody was playing it. And I think since then, it's been the go-to tank if you want to train a medium crew for one of your other tanks, one of your other Soviet mediums. It certainly is a very flexible and dynamic medium tank. Obviously, it's in many ways, it's matched with the Cromwell and the Cromwell B. But it's the 85mm gun, I think, in the end, that really does it. That 180 alpha, and of course a reasonably fairly fast reload. The standard reload by the book is 499, but Platypus was actually getting better than that. And if you can keep pumping those shells out with that regularity, you can rack up a huge amount of damage. But the TheCrazyPlatypus was also being fairly careful about how he did it. Yes, he did get hit by that shot from the VK-3001D, who managed to put a 75mm round through his cupola, and it does stick out like a sore thumb. And he also was fairly careless when he poked his nose out trying to get shots on the Stug and the Su-85M, and all of a sudden the Su-100, who happened to be to his left and he hadn't actually seen him there, pumped a 122mm round right into the front of his tank. And yeah, that could have been awkward, but he still managed to fight the rest of the game on the hit points that he had and get huge amounts of damage. So well done to the Crazy Platypus. Let's have a quick look at the armor for this vehicle. Here's the armor profile, and you can see at the front of the vehicle it's got 75mm well angled, so it gets up to 107 or 108 or thereabouts, maybe about 110. Certainly there are some weak spots actually. The driver's hatch there, and of course the machine gun port there, they're fairly thin, so you can penetrate those. But you can see in certain parts of those hatches it actually gets quite big. It's only when you actually get to this impact point here where it's 0 you can actually penetrate that, but I think you can also penetrate the lower plate on this one as well. 45mm impacted, only 81, but it is fairly low and very well deep, so difficult to actually shoot at that. Most people, if they want to get this vehicle from the front, actually go for the cupola, because that's only 90mm of armor and it's basically straight up. That's what the VK went for, and he did get the pen through. The armor on the turret on the cheeks, you can see at the front of the cheeks it's actually fairly good. Well, 90mm. You're probably getting a ricochet at this part because it's very well rounded. From the side of the vehicle, this is what the Su-100 saw. He saw, yep, I'm easily going to pen 45mm of armor on the side. Even on the side of the turret, 75mm, 82, because it's fairly slab-sided. If you go to the rear of the vehicle, it's even thinner, 30mm at the back, going up to 45 there. And the engine deck is fairly thin as well, 15mm. So Arty can, if they land a shell on top of this tank, they usually will go straight through. But if you hit the sides, it's going to be a little more difficult. Anyway, that's the collision model. Let's have a look at the live model. You can see from the front, it's fairly solid. You've only got that sort of like area there which you can actually shoot at. Probably not best to go for the driver, even though it's actually showing there as red. Probably easier to go for the machine gun port and get through that part there. Anywhere on the front of the plate, actually, if you've got enough pen, should be able to get through. A 75mm round should be able to penetrate that. And from the sides, again, it's an anywhere you like, you can pen it. Let's have a quick look at the modules. Well, driver's up front on the right-hand side, machine gun on the left, who's also the driver's mate or radio operator. We can see that the gunner is actually behind the driver on the right-hand side, and the tank commander is behind him with that big cupola. The loader is on the right-hand side of the gun, and he's got an ammo rack in the bustle of the turret alongside the where the tank commander is, and he's shoveling those shells into the breech. So if you want to aim for an ammo rack, aim for the bustle, you should be able to get it. There is more ammo racks actually in the shoulders near the driver. Again, you should be able to pen that area. And the more difficult to get one is actually the ammo rack in the center of the tank, directly underneath the turret, because it's actually fairly deep within the vehicle, and you'd have to get the shell through the bogies in order to hit it. Engine at the back with the fuel tank behind it, not sandwiching it, behind it. And it's high at the rear, so if you want to hit this thing, again, you want to get the, either aim for the rear of the vehicle if you can. If they're moving at speed, hit the rear of the vehicle there, or aim for the engine deck, and you actually aim for the engine, you might get the fuel tank and set the thing off. It was diesel fuel, and you usually carried tanks outside in drums, which weren't connected to the actual engine. But what they would do is, when they ran low on fuel, they drained the drums into the vehicle, so the vehicle was full at any one time, and then they just, if the drums caught fire, they just kick them off. They wouldn't need them anymore, because they could always get more drums of diesel. But that's where all the modules are on the T-34-85M. I hope you enjoyed that replay. It was rather interesting to see Crazy Platypus do it, and in style as well. In fact, actually, I had the feeling that he might have actually gone on to get an even bigger win out of that one. Could have possibly gone for a Radley's. But as it was, did manage to get a nice set of medals and an ace tanker. If you enjoyed that replay, please give it a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.